Hello, everyone. My name is Tim Tang with Hughes, and today I have the privilege of speaking with my good friend Tom Seeker. He's a respected CIO in the restaurant industry. Tom, if we can just go ahead and jump into it, can you maybe give us a little bit of your characterization of some of the business challenges that are facing the restaurant industry?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, Tim, is everything I'm hearing when I'm with the RTN group or IFPTA is a lot of restaurants, large and small, are really facing a lot of challenges in getting their systems to communicate from off premise to on premise and in between different systems and being able to try to fill the labor gap with technology. That's where everybody seems to be scrambling is trying to solve where they can't get people or where they're trying to get systems to communicate. That seems to be the biggest challenge today.
Why don't we just take these one at a time then? Let's start with the order you presented them. The integration is been a very thorn in everyone's side for a very long time. Can you talk a little bit about what kind of progress we're making on that front?
Well, I mean, since the pandemic, and there's a lot of bad things that happened with the pandemic, but in our industry, the IT departments in most restaurants were redheaded stepchildren. We basically were there because we were needed and only because we were needed, not because we were wanted. What happened within the pandemic, though, is everybody said that I'm not coming into your restaurant. You got to get food to me. And the only way they were going to get that is through technology. And all of a sudden, IT departments started getting funding where there wasn't funding, started getting attention where there wasn't attention. So that really has changed the dynamic to which technology has been working within restaurants, right? People that didn't want to adopt off premise, that didn't want to adopt ghost kitchens, didn't want to adopt virtual brands, have all jumped in with both feet, whether they wanted to or not, to be able to keep up with the changing environment of how our customers, our consumers want to get their food. And even since the pandemic, the ratio of in restaurant versus driving up and getting it or curbside or even bringing it to them, that is adjusted. And it's never going to, in my opinion, go back to what it was. You will always have people wanting to come sit down at a restaurant. But in the past, you could not get an Outback or a finer dining restaurant bringing you food to your house where you can sit down at your table and have the experience that you want in your own environment with their great food. So technology has really shifted us to providing that type of relationship from restaurant to customer. So it's been a complete shift in how we see our customer.
Can you speak a little bit? You mentioned earlier the labor shortage. Where does technology kind of help address some of the challenges we're seeing with the labor shortage?
Well, initially, everybody tried to throw a robot on the floor to be able to bus tables and to bring food. And it was a cute idea, and all of us want to live in the world of the Jetsons, but we're not quite there yet. Where it really impacts is things like being able to do predictive ordering, using AI to look at what you consume versus what you have on the shelf, and helping a manager be able to spend more time with the customer and with the employee than sitting in the back office trying to figure out what it is they need to order or how much they need to order or whether or not they're making a profit on something and getting real-time responses on where they need to make adjustments. Do I need to reduce my labor because I don't have as many guests today as I thought I would? So that way I keep that balance and keep that profitability. But even more so, being able to engage employees with, hey, I need to trade my schedule. In the past, they had to call the manager to get permission. The manager had to talk to the other person. They had to make the adjustment in the point of sale. They had to make the adjustment in the app. Nowadays, it's not uncommon for an employee to reach out to another employee, shift schedules. It all happens in the background, and things are able to get done much more efficiently. It also gives real time understanding of what's going on with the staff that you have. Hey, I'm not going to be able to make it today. Being able to have that messaging and the communications and keep that real time effect of what needs to happen between the restaurant, the employee, and again, knowing what your customer base is, being able to look at your reservations and your no wait environment to say, wait a minute, I got a stack of people coming. Maybe I need to bring more people in and being able to send a message out to all of your employees saying, hey, I need somebody to take this shift instead of spending an hour in the office making phone calls. They can stay out on the floor and let the technology do that work. So being able to utilize existing systems and then take some new opportunities with companies that have sprung up since the pandemic to handle that. So that's what's filling that gap.
So many of the use cases that you just kind of described are all dependent on data. Can you speak a little bit to how restaurants should be preparing, thinking about, or using their data?
Absolutely. As I've said hundreds of times in the past, data is the true king, not cash. I do believe cash will come when people truly understand and have real time, actionable data. I like to use those words in that order. Data can be a complete waste of time if you have overwhelming amounts of data, but no way to understand it. But data is where, when you start with your point of sale and you start when you're creating an item, to be able to do it one time, to push it out to all of your systems, from your point of sale to your kiosk to uh, your KDS system to your third party to your Olo or your Chowly or your Checkmate or any other one of the integrators, not having to do the same thing 9 different times to be able to manage all of your environments. Then once you collect your sales, once you collect your labor, having all that data flow efficiently into your back of house system and to your financial system and to your labor system automatically. So you're not having to brute force that through the process, and then go to your BI environments and look at your flat report. I'm not one that says that you should get rid of a PDF file. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, only go to BI. But I believe that there's a good mix that you can give to your operators that's going to give them real time actionable data to make decisions, whether it's whether I need to reduce my labor, whether I need to increase my labor, whether I can look at the last 5 years and look at the trends of what have happened on that day and that week and determine how I want to staff it. And then look at simple things like, wait a minute, there is a playoff game happening in the bowl just down the road in downtown Orlando, and I've got 3 restaurants around that location. I may want to increase staffing because I've just put 20,000 more people in that area on Thursday night for the playoffs. Knowing that kind of intel and being able to see it and understand it, and then use that information for local store marketing. Don't give away tables if they're going to be there. It doesn't make sense to give huge discounts and a bunch of coupons at those 3 restaurants if I've got 20,000 more potential patrons in that area. It's data is what allows you to make good decisions. The
You
computer's not
know,
going to make the decision, but the data will help you do it.
when we talk about data, the very next question then has to, how do you protect that data? Can you provide some guidance as it relates to cybersecurity in the restaurant industry?
Yeah. To me, it's the most important thing as a technologist, protecting the data. There are 3 major tools that I don't care if you're a single restaurant, you're a mom and pop, or if you're an enterprise. If you do not have EDR, XDR, and MDR environments, meaning you have a environment to where you have tools installed on your computers and your systems, say, hey, this isn't normal, this shouldn't happen. B, MDR, you get a managed environment. The bigger you are, the more you need other people looking over your shoulders. And then the XDR environment, which allows your systems to communicate with each other at the speed of light and make decisions on your behalf until you can get engaged. What I mean by that is the bad actors, they're 12 hours ahead. You're in the middle of the night sleeping while they're in the middle of the night trying to hack through your systems. While that's happening, your systems can be using AI and using intelligence and EDR and XDR environments to say, hey, somebody's trying to come in through that window. Shut the window, put down the blinds, notify you that something's happening so you can then come in and make good decisions. Because a part of a hack, and a lot of people don't realize this, is having you shut your own door and your window so you can't see out. The reality is they did their job because you can't function anymore. Even though they didn't do damage to you, part of the damage is blocking you from being able to see what's out the window. So these systems make good decisions and help you make good decisions, and everybody can have them. Everything from Microsoft Defender to Fortinet's EDR to solutions offered by Hughes and other service providers. These are things that at every level of IT, if you're an IT manager, if you're an IT director, if you're a CIO, CTO, or if you're a CFO or you're a CEO, if you've got any C or president level in your name, if this is not something you're talking about in every board meeting, in every meeting, you're behind the ball and you're in trouble, because there are people who are doing everything they can in our service industries to hurt us, especially with what's going on in the world right now.
One of the interesting things is that we're in a year where there's new requirements from a compliance perspective and a regulatory. Can you speak a little bit about PCI 4.0 and data privacy?
Yes, PCI 4.0 has been inbound for about 3.5 years right now. And with the requirement for companies to go to EMV, taking the risk from the customer doing a chargeback to putting it on your shoulders, you putting, the chip and pin, the EMV environment in, and then all the other requirements taken into things that different states like California and other regulatory requirements that have been put into place since 3.0 came out of you to protect PII data, personally identifiable information, something that can identify a customer, where they live, their name, to their data. If you're not protecting that, that can take away your ability to take credit cards. And I don't know about you, Tim, but everybody I've dealt with in the restaurant industry, 75, 85% of your money is credit cards. If you want to get put out of business quickly, don't pay attention to PCI 4.0. It's a requirement this year. I believe it's September. I may be wrong, but I believe that through September this year, most companies have the requirement to be PCI 4.0
Mhm.
certified. So it is a big, big deal.
As we kind of wrap this up, maybe one last question for you, Lee, with regards to AI, and what are you seeing on that front?
Well, AI, AI has been around for a long time. If you say Google a cat, that's AI.
Mm.
It's taking what you say and it's looking for something and coming back with a result. It's been around a long time. Generative AI has become readily available to everybody. So now AI is the big buzz, but it's been around a long time. So AI is a tool. It's the ability of a machine to take what we do, look it up against a large language model, meaning you've got this huge internet and it goes out there and it tries to find an answer, but it doesn't know if it's the right answer. So it's up to us when we're using AI to determine whether that data is real or whether it's a fragment or if it's something that it makes up trying to solve your problem. You can ask a question and AI comes back with a perfectly logical response, but it can make that response up and it can be completely fake because it's just answering a question and finding something that gives an answer and giving it back to you. So AI is a great tool. It depends on the data that it's querying. So if you're looking at AI 3.0, I believe the data is 2.5 to 3 years old. So if you're asking a question on what happened in politics in 2024, I can't answer you. It has no way of looking at that data. If you're paying for 4.0 or one of the newest renditions of it, that's still a year and a half old. So we as operators, we as experts in the industry, just simply have to set a standard on what AI is being used for. We have to set policies and procedures in place so people don't. I've had people at companies I've worked with where somebody will use generative AI to write a letter. They'll use the person's name, the person's address, the person's phone number, give it to AI, and it writes a beautiful document. But what they don't realize is all that data is now on the internet and formatted for a bad person to go and be able to see. So it's a great tool. It's extremely fast. It gives us the opportunity to look at millions of data points and give us good opportunities, but it's really, really important that we utilize AI right. We understand the risks. But what's really exciting, though, is AI can be used to, in many facets of a restaurant, to make recommendations on, hey, your plate is plated wrong. You did not put chicken on the right. It should have been on the left. Hey, a broom fell. Somebody shouldn't trip off it. Hey, your refrigerator is going over temperature. You need to do something about it. Or, hey, Mr. Jones just walked in. He eats key lime pie every time. You might want to recommend key lime pie to him this time and impress them that you know who they are. So there's risks and there's real opportunity with AI in our industry.
Seems like the key is really being able to manage those risks. As you look out for the next year, what would the top priorities be for restaurant executives as it relates to technology?
Understanding where a pen may be a better solution than a brand new network. Understanding where people are right now and setting a plan to get them to where you want to be. If you've got millions of dollars in assets and somebody's telling you to buy something brand new, you're going to need a path to get to that brand new. So just understanding your infrastructure, understanding who to talk to. I recommend everybody join IFETA, join RTN, join MERTEC, get involved with the industry because those are the people who are going to help you because they've been there and done that. And like I've said before, Tim, with Hughes, with other companies, I have never seen them compete with each other in our space. We're
Mm.
always willing to help each other. Let the people argue who has the best burger. But I have never ever, except one time in my entire career, had another CIO, CTO, vice president, IT director, anybody not take a phone call and be willing to help each other out. Communicate with each other. You'll find you'll save yourself months of time.
Tom, thank you. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us. Everyone, I've been speaking with Tom Seeker, and my name is Tim Tang from Hughes.